Hello and welcome to Indian Standard Time, a brand new show on Rajya Sabha TV with me, Jyoti Malhotra, a show that speaks to key leaders all over the world. And I'm in conversation today with Khurram Dastgir Khan, Pakistan's Trade and Commerce Minister and a very close aide and confidant of Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz. Khurram Sahab, welcome to India, welcome to Rajya Sabha TV.
Thank you very much, but I'm not that close a confidant.
You're not that close a confidant?
Yes, I'm not.
And why not?
Because I think I'm too young to be close to him. So
I see. But are you a close aide of his at least?
No, I have assisted him over the years, but not consistently. But I'm actually absolutely delighted to be on his team, and my family, of course, has a very long historical relationship with the party that Mr. Sharif now leads. Okay. So it's sort of a very old affiliation, let's just say.
But it's an old family affiliation, but it's a very young political partnership. Is that what you're saying?
No, not really. I mean, it's a family. My father was a minister in Mr. Sharif's earlier administrations. So I have now taken up his mantle. So
So your father was also in politics?
My father was also in politics for a very long time. Yes, he was a member of, he was elected member of parliament 4 times.
So just like India, in Pakistan also you have dynasties. Your father was in politics, now you're in politics. Mian Nawaz Sharif is the Prime Minister of Pakistan. His brother Shehbaz Sharif is the Chief Minister of Punjab.
Yeah, but dynasties in Pakistan are much less long-lasting, and they tend to be interrupted very easily.
Okay.
Because of the simple fact that we've had authoritarian interventions into Pakistan's politics. And every authoritarian intervention in Pakistan has tended to practically take off all the chess pieces from the board and put up new ones. So that's why
But in Mian Nawaz Sharif's case, he was there 10, 12 years ago when...
yes, the last time he was Prime Minister 15 years ago.
15 years ago, in 1999. That is, it was a big year for India in 99 when former Indian Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee took the bus journey to Lahore, and Nawaz Sharif was then Prime Minister. And again, he was Prime Minister in the early 90s.
In the early 90s.
So what is the secret to Nawaz Sharif's survival in Pakistani politics?
I think it's just that he represents a certain right-of-center mindset, which is not extremist, but it reflects and respects Pakistan's cultural heritage, Pakistan's religious heritage. So he represents a certain thinking.
So he's sort of a centrist, would you say?
He's a centrist, yes. Centrist right-of-center, but centrist.
Right-of-center, but centrist.
So that's, and that mindset, which is not extremist, seeks expression. And that's why it's very interesting that it's not since Pakistan's founding in 1947 that we've had a stable Muslim League in Pakistan. It's only happened under Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. And of course, I think his greatest legacy, when historians after some years will look back on it, was the fact that he has led the first right-of-center party in Pakistan, which is firmly anti-authoritarian, anti-dictatorship. Usually there has been a close affiliation between authoritarian interventions and the right-wing parties in Pakistan. But this PML under Nawaz Sharif is the first one which has broken away and said very firmly that we are for the constitution and for the rule of the people and for elected governments to rule Pakistan and to be accountable to the people.
And of course, Mian Nawaz Sharif has very close experience with authoritarian regimes,
yes, he has
with dictatorships.
Yes, so I think that this evolution that we see in Nawaz Sharif, I think this is good for Pakistan, because someone who has had, in fact, almost all principal Pakistani economic leaders had their beginnings in one dictatorship or the other. That's a fact. But how Mr. Sharif's thinking has evolved over the decades, and how his firm commitment to the constitution and to elected rule, and his manifested commitment in the last government, elected government, that only the people of Pakistan have the right to change their government. And so that he stood firm on his insistence that he will not sort of make extra constitutional understandings or agreements to change the government. And he held firm despite very strident criticism that he was a lukewarm opposition, that he wasn't strident enough in his opposition to Mr. Zardari's government. But he stood firm that yes, the people of Pakistan have elected a certain government, we respect their wishes, and until the people go to the polls again and elect a new government, we shall respect the mandate. And I think that is something which has led to a unheard of event in Pakistan's history. It was 2013, in which one elected government making way for another government without any violence or without any disorder and situations. This is a very positive milestone that we have reached.
Not only in Pakistan but across South Asia.
Absolutely.
And but before I get to the India's questions with you, I just also wanted to ask you, in the 8 or 9 months since Mian Nawaz Sharif has been Prime Minister of Pakistan, a lot of hopes that have not been fulfilled. Would you agree?
Well, as the poet said, if hopes may dupe, fears may be liars.
Okay.
So
which poet is that?
The point is that
no, who is the poet?
I don't recall exactly. I think you are more literary than I am. I remember quotations, you remember poets. But the fact is that, yes, there have been great hopes. But the issue is, in our view as we see it, that we have been in 7-8 months practically what called cleaning the Augean stables and setting things right for what we feel would be a future era of growth and prosperity in Pakistan. For that,
including a new army chief.
Well, a new army chief, yes. The previous army chief had an extension to which we didn't support it. But the fact that we now have a new army chief, we have a new chief justice.
And do you believe that the new army chief will be subservient to the elected government?
That's not our aim. Our belief is that the new army chief will respect the constitution. Even more importantly, respect the will of the people of Pakistan. And the people of Pakistan...
And therefore the elected government.
Therefore the elected, because the people of Pakistan have given a very clear mandate. I think it's important to note that we have a majority in parliament of PMLN. So there is a very clear understanding by the people of Pakistan, which they have very clearly manifested, that this government has their support.
The reason I'm asking you this is because in Pakistan, the army has been a very powerful institution. All powerful, actually. For more than half your independence, the army has been in control. And despite this changeover from one elected government to another, the army plays a very, very important and very powerful, overpowerful, some would say. Do you think Mian Nawaz Sharif, the Prime Minister, has full control now?
Well, the civil-military relations is a fraught subject in Pakistan. But that is why another aspect of the civilian transition that happened last year is that with stability in elected governments, the civil-military equation, which is currently still unbalanced, will eventually be righted for the elected governments to claim their rightful place as deciders of policy. But I think let me just point out that it's very important that the new army chief is someone who has led the process of rethinking of doctrine within the Pakistan.
And reconciliation. Khurram Sahab, hold your thought. I'm going to take a very quick break. Please don't go away. We'll be back very soon. Welcome back. You're watching Indian Standard Time on Rajya Sabha TV, and I'm in conversation with Khurram Dastgir Khan of Pakistan. Khurram Sahab, before the break, you were talking about improving civil-military relations in Pakistan. As you know, that India and Pakistan, one of the biggest sources of tension between our two countries is the fact that the military has played such an important role. We have had 3 wars, 1 conflict in Kargil. Mian Nawaz Sharif was the victim of that conflict in Kargil. Now, in recent 5 years ago, there were these attacks in Mumbai, of which you are very well aware. Why is it that no government in Pakistan, the previously elected government of Asif Ali Zardari and your government of Mian Nawaz Sharif has not been able to take any action against those accused in the Mumbai attacks?
Well, the previous government took action, and we also have taken action.
What action?
The matter is in the courts. It's being prosecuted, and we have revitalized the prosecution of those accused in connection with Mumbai. And the matter, I believe, will be settled in the courts in not too distant a future.
Are you sure? Because
Yes.
it's taken 5 years and there's been absolutely nothing has happened. The matter is in the courts, but it's been in the courts for 5 years.
But I think Indian media is also watching. I think we are now, as I said, revitalizing the prosecution of these cases, and we hope to have some outcome very soon.
Do you think that in the previous government, one of the reasons for no movement on the Mumbai case was because the army was playing such an important role, and therefore the elected government did not want to disturb that equation?
I would not speculate on what the previous government, why they didn't take certain actions, because we were in opposition to them, and we really feel that for Pakistan to go forward, this is something that has been an irritant for some time now, and we want to move forward because.
So you agree it is an irritant in India-Pakistan relations?
No, it's just that there's something. I think both countries share a commitment to protect their people from violent extremism. And that's part of it. And I think we should move forward with it. And we are already, I believe, the advisor to Prime Minister, Mr. Sataji, has spoken on the subject, and he's also taking action and actually watching it very closely, how it happens.
So you are determined to take action against the accused of the Mumbai attacks?
We are determined to prosecute them according to whatever evidence we have, yes, and then allow the courts to decide the matter. Because our intervention is limited to vigorous prosecution.
Okay. And the courts will decide? The
courts will decide.
If they are guilty, whether they are guilty?
Yes, indeed.
And similarly with Hafiz Saeed, he is roaming free, a free man on the streets of Lahore, in which your government is in power.
No, he's a free citizen of Pakistan, and there are issues with him. He has been accused, he has been arrested occasionally, but the courts in Pakistan have seen fit to release him, and that's where the matter stands.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, if we have to move forward between India and Pakistan, what do you think, in your vision, in your Prime Minister's, in your government's vision, what are the ways ahead to move ahead? Is
to ensure that no single incident or set of incidents derails the relationship.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means that if anything happens, just as it happened in line of control last August, that shouldn't be allowed to suspend or stop the composite dialogue or dialogues. Or as what happened in Mumbai. Even what happened in Mumbai. Because you see, unless this relationship is predictable and stable, no gains could actually be materialized. While we are talking, the Secretary Commerce level talks are in progress at this moment. But they are happening after 16 months. So this hiatus of 16 months, who do we blame this on? Because unless the Secretaries of Commerce meet and start taking the roadmap further, for 16 months, all the complaint about no progress happening on the trade front is simply due to the fact the Secretary of Commerce haven't met. But why haven't they met? Even though the political relationship between India and Pakistan on the Mumbai issue, there was absolutely no movement. But despite that, why haven't the Commerce Ministers like yourself met with your Indian counterpart? All I can say is it's not anything because of Pakistan. There was no restriction or prohibition from Pakistan on the meeting between Secretaries of Commerce. The Secretaries of Commerce? The Secretaries of Commerce. And what about the Commerce Ministers? The Commerce Ministers met last time, I believe, 2 years ago. But there was an election year in Pakistan, so yes, it's been... and the fact that now, even for these meeting between the Secretaries of Commerce, let me just circle back and say this. The reason I say that we need to have a predictable and stable relationship, because once relationship is suspended, it takes endless and tortuous negotiations and meetings to put it back on rails. Now, for Secretary of Commerce's meeting that is happening in New Delhi, the Prime Ministers met in New York, the Foreign Ministers met, then the Chief Minister of Pakistan's Punjab was here last month in New Delhi. I accompanied him. These very high-level talks, yes, had to take place before the Secretaries of Commerce could meet. So every time this relationship is suspended or somehow stopped, it then takes a lot of diplomacy to put it back on track. So that is
your reading.
My reading, and of course this is now observation also, now become an observation, is that for Pakistan and India to ensure that yes, there will be difficult incidents, we will deal with them seriously, but not allow those incidents to stop or suspend the relationship.
Even something as serious as the Mumbai attacks?
Absolutely.
So you're saying that after the Mumbai attacks, which took place in November 2008, it's taken 5 years for India and Pakistan to return to some degree of normalcy?
Absolutely.
Okay. Khurram Saab, I'm going to take a very quick break. Please hold your thoughts and we'll be back very soon. Don't go away. We'll be back very soon. Welcome back. You're watching Indian Standard Time on Rajya Sabha TV, and I'm in conversation today with Khurram Dastgir Khan, the Commerce and Trade Minister of Pakistan. Khurram Saab, the trade relationship between India and Pakistan, do you think that it has the potential to override, if you like, the tensions that we have between our countries, whether it's Kashmir, Siachen, Sir Creek? These issues have been going on for years, for decades. Do you think that by improving trade, by opening or reopening investment, we can put these issues on the back burner or on the side?
I think that's putting a burden too far on trade.
Okay, a responsibility on your shoulders.
Yes, absolutely. It's just
but you're a big man, you can take these responsibilities.
No, the issue is, yes, these issues have to run in parallel. Okay. So I will extend the metaphor of the rails, that these are two rails of the relationship on which we have to run that train of peace.
So one is political and
one is trade. Yes, there will be some periods, as now, when trade is running ahead of the political rail, but eventually they have to come in parallel.
You think trade is running ahead?
Yes, trade, because at this moment, the composite dialogue is suspended.
No, but in what way is trade running ahead? Because in my understanding, Pakistan for 26 years has not given the MFN or most favored nation status. Never mind, we will not use that term again. You want to call it non-discriminatory access? We can call it that. Let me just
enlighten your viewers that Pakistan took a very substantial and major step in the spring of 2012 when we moved from a positive list to a negative list. Absolutely. Which means that there was a restricted list of items. Only trade-in could happen on those items. Then we moved in 2012, which is a major qualitative and quantitative shift. We moved to a negative list, which is a much smaller list of items in which trade could not happen and could happen everything else.
I completely agree. That was a huge step forward.
That was a huge step forward. So you can't really say that in 26 years...
So what's the next step?
This is precisely what is being negotiated today.
What would you call it?
The next step is the enhancement and facilitation at Vaga, as was agreed in the roadmap back in September 2012.
Right.
So Vaga's facilitation and enhancement is in negotiation. And once we are able to reach some understanding on it, that would trigger, as we expect, a 30% reduction in India's sensitive list under SAFTA. With also the understanding that that reduction would take into account items of Pakistan's export interest. So that is the next step that we are, so it isn't that we are negotiating for the purpose of negotiating, it's actually the next milestone in the roadmap.
But explain to me, or explain to our viewers, the difference between MFN or most favored nation status and non-discriminatory access to our markets that you talk about.
Well, MFN is actually a WTO term, World Trade Organization term. In fact, WTO inherited from GATT, from General Agreement, one of the issue is that's why I think it's more descriptive to say non-discriminatory market access. I think it explains in much clearer detail about what is actually going to happen, in which both countries agree to give each other, without discriminating against the other country, market access and a level playing field to each other.
So you don't like most favored nation?
I think it just it confuses the issue.
क्यों? क्योंकि उसको हिंदुस्तानी में या उर्दू में या हिंदी में?
Yes, I think it just creates unnecessary overtones.
What kind of overtones? उसमें उसका translation उर्दू में क्या है? सबसे पसंदीदा मुल्क.
इंतहाई पसंदीदा मुल्क.
इंतहाई पसंदीदा मुल्क. जो आपकी आवाम में किस तरह के उसके connotations क्या हैं?
As I said, it just confuses the issue by countries don't like or dislike each other.
Okay.
It's not an issue of liking. It's not an issue of favoring. Countries have interests, and it is our interests in Pakistan, and we have shared this interest with India, that we should have a normal trading relationship.
And
Without discriminating against each other and without tilting the playing field either way. So to have a level playing field, to facilitate each other and to benefit, because trade has mutual gains from it. So to focus the attention of the public and to be able to speak to Parliament and to the people and to explain to them what is actually going on. Non-discriminatory market access is a much more descriptive term of the process.
and it doesn't have all the negative
It doesn't have
connotations.
subjective overtones.
Okay. Of इंतहाई पसंदीदा मुल्क या सबसे पसंदीदा मुल्क.
So
So it's a very sort of a neutral sort of a term.
Yes, I said it is more descriptive
Okay.
and more reflective of the reality of what is being negotiated.
And do you think alongside these negotiations you can also talk about, say, opening investments between our two countries?
You see, that's is something then when we start moving towards the other rail of the political differences.
So you don't agree with that?
No, I agree with it. I agree with it completely. The issue is,
You're a very conservative minister,
no,
Khurram Saab.
I agree with it. No, I like to call myself realistic and more attuned to the realities
All right.
of relationship. The issue is that we can trade, as we can sell onions to each other as we have been doing. We can sell tomatoes to each other as we have been doing. But investments requires stability and predictability in the relation. That's precisely when I talked about that. Even if serious incidents
You're
happen,
holding back right now on investments, but you're willing to.
we have not held back on investments. The agreements are already in place. We have allowed investments to take place. The issue is investments will only happen. The investors and businessmen and industrialists will only start utilizing an agreement that has already taken place once they have a comfort level that the countries have now reached a stage in their relationship in which it won't be suspended on a drop of a hat.
Khurram Saab, it's been 67 years since India and Pakistan became independent countries. क्या आपको अभी भी लगता है कि we still need confidence in each other? Why don't we just open the doors to trade and investment? क्या फर्क पड़ने वाला है?
No, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. फर्क यही है कि हमें एक दूसरे के ऊपर एतमाद करना है. और एतमाद के लिए मैं फिर दोहराऊंगा कि हमारी जो आपस का ताल्लुक है उसमें इस्तेहकाम होना चाहिए. उसमें एतमाद होना चाहिए कि कितना भी संजीदा मामला इंसिडेंट ना हो जाए, लेकिन ये नहीं होगा कि बॉर्डर के ऊपर दरवाजा बंद हो जाएगा.
जिस तरह से मुंबई में पे जो
जिस तरह हुआ, देखिए ना, नहीं सिर्फ मुंबई में नहीं, उसके बाद भी जब भी कभी भी नाखुशगवार वाकयात हुए हैं, हमने सडनली हमें पता चला कि हिंदुस्तान ने बॉर्डर बंद कर दिया, कोई नहीं जा रहा. अब द थिंग इज,
तो जिम्मेदारी हमारी है इसका?
नहीं, हमारे पाकिस्तान भी इसके अंदर शामिल है. देयर इज सम रेसिप्रोसिटी, इसमें वी शुड बी वेरी ओपन टू इट. लेकिन इशू ये है कि अगर मैंने एक इन्वेस्टमेंट कर दी हिंदुस्तान में और मुझे पता चलता है कि ये वाकया हुआ और मैं तो जा ही नहीं सकता, मैं तो 16 महीने नहीं जा सकता अपनी इन्वेस्टमेंट को देखने के लिए, फिर मैं क्या करूंगा? तो जब मैं तो ऑलरेडी फॉर इन्वेस्टमेंट टू टेक प्लेस, द रेजिमेन इज वेरी क्लियर of how it's going to happen. The Reserve Bank of India, State Bank of Pakistan have already reached certain understandings. But for us to start utilizing what has already been agreed upon, just like we made agreements, 3 very serious agreements on customs facilitation, on recognition of mutual standards, and on visas. But these 3 have not been implemented at all.
Achha, Khurram Saab, we are absolutely running out of time, but I also want to ask you a question on the Afghan-Pakistan Trade and Transit Agreement, which allows you to trade with each other. But Pakistan, your government and the previous government has refused to expand that to India. If South Asia and SAARC have to be a united or an integrated economic space, why would you not allow India and Afghanistan to trade with each other through Pakistan?
First, let me enlighten your viewers that India and Afghanistan are allowed to trade each other to the level of their desire through Karachi.
Through Karachi. But the
So
land route,
there's no restriction
No,
on
maybe
that.
through Karachi, but Karachi is बहुत ही लंबा रास्ता है. Through the land route, आप दरवाजे खोलें और Indian goods को
So that is
Afghanistan
precisely what we
जाने
are,
दें.
that is, at the hazard of repetition, enhancement and facilitation at Vaga is what is being negotiated.
And if that happens, you're willing to give land access for Indian goods to Afghanistan?
Not immediately, but once we have reached the level of a normal trading relationship.
I see. So we have to wait for that.
The trade to Afghanistan is not on the roadmap. That will require a separate roadmap. But yes, the government of Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif is very serious about having a very stable, peaceful, and mutually prosperous relationship with all its neighbors, East and West. So we are perfectly open to that.
Khurram Saab, thank you so much for talking to Rajya Sabha TV. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you for inviting me. My pleasure.
You've been watching Khurram Dastgir Khan in conversation with me on Rajya Sabha TV. Thank you so much.